Hello, my name's Beatrix and I'm a Rainbow Leader in Angus and also a trainer. Today I'll be taking us through the features of Zoom and how we can use them for our unit meetings. If you don't already have a Zoom account, you can set one up by going to www.zoom.us and then you simply click this orange button where it says sign up for free. When you click this, it will open up a new screen and it will ask you to input your date of birth. This is simply to check that you're not a robot. When you press enter, it will then prompt you to type in your email address. It says work email address, however any email address will be fine. You then simply type in your email address and click sign up. Once you've typed your email address into the Zoom website and clicked sign up, you'll be sent an email to the email address that you registered with. And in this email from Zoom, it will ask you to click the link in this orange box to activate your account. When you click this link, the Zoom website will reopen and it will prompt you to type in your name and password and accept their terms and conditions. Once you've done that, congratulations, you now have a free Zoom account. Now you have a Zoom account, every time you log in to the Zoom website, you will see a page like this, which allows you to see your profile, meetings, and various settings associated with your Zoom account. The profile page, which I've opened now, is where you can see your name, display name, and email address. You can change these by clicking on the edit button to change your name or email address. But please note, if you do have one of the Girl Guiding free Zoom accounts, then the name and email address will be the one you registered with and you cannot change this information. So the next button down on the left of your screen is the meetings button. If you click this meetings button, it will bring up a list of all the meetings that you have planned and are upcoming. You can also click previous if you would like to see meetings that you've had in the past. This is the same place you will go if you would like to schedule a new meeting. To schedule a new meeting, you click on this blue button which says schedule a meeting on the right hand side of the screen. When you click this, it will prompt you to type in the topic of your meeting. This could simply be Unit Meeting 1 or another name for your unit meeting. It will ask you when your meeting is, both the date and time, and how long you would like your meeting to last. There is a button here which you can tick for a recurring meeting. However, I would recommend that you send the parents a new link to each meeting each week, as it can be hard to keep track of the recurring meeting link as it moves down people's email inbox. There are a couple of security settings that we need to be aware of while we're setting up a meeting in this screen. You need to make sure that the passcode button is ticked and that it generates a unique password for each meeting. This should be ticked by default, but is worth double checking just in case. You also want to double check that the waiting room button is enabled. I wouldn't allow anyone to join a meeting before the hosts, so make sure that one is unticked, as you do need the adults in the meeting space before the girls join. Now you've double checked those settings, then your meeting is ready and you can click save at the bottom of the screen. Now you would like to share your Zoom meeting link with the parents of the girls in your unit. You can do this by scrolling down and it will say invite link and you can click copy invitation. If you click that, you will be able to copy that link into an email out to the parents so that they have the Zoom link to join your meeting. Don't share the link publicly on any social media such as your unit Facebook page, as there may be a risk you could have unwanted people trying to get into your meeting. You should really send the link directly to parents of your unit. When you're ready to host your meeting, you simply log into your Zoom account on the Zoom website and click on the Meetings tab. Next to the meeting that you're wanting to start, you will see a small blue button which says Start Meeting. You just need to click on this and your meeting will open in Zoom. If you get a pop-up saying waiting for the host to join, it may be that you're not quite logged into your Zoom account, so just double check that you're logged in properly if you get this error message. So now I've clicked Start Meeting, it's opened up the Zoom app on my computer. Now, as a host in a Zoom meeting, you will have a slightly different view to the one you would have if you were the meeting participant. And also remember, if you're using a tablet or phone, some buttons may be in different places and they may not appear at all. So it's worth having a good look around your own device to get used to where all the functions are found before a meeting. The first thing we need to be able to do in a Zoom meeting is to let people in and join the meeting. To do this, we need to click on the Participants button, which you will see at the bottom of your screen. This will then open up a list on the right-hand side, and you can see people who are in the meeting. So I'm sitting in the main room just now, so I appear as in the meeting. If you have somebody who's waiting to join the meeting, they'll be sitting in the waiting room, and you can see here they appear under Waiting Room, and you can see the name of the person who's trying to get in. In this case, it simply says iPad. And if the name of the person that's waiting to get in is a name you recognise, such as one of your girls or one of your girls' parents' names, and you're ready to let them in the meeting, you simply click Admit. If there's more than one person waiting, they will appear as a list here, and you will have the Admit button, and above that you will also have a button which says Admit All. So if you recognised all the names in that list, you could click Admit All and they would all join the main room of the meeting. If you have somebody sitting in the waiting room, like I do, where it simply says iPad and you don't know who this person is, you can send a message to everybody in the waiting room by clicking this message button here. You could simply type then a message to everybody in the waiting room saying, "Can you rename yourself?" so we can see who's trying to join. You then click Enter to send that message, and the people in the waiting room will be able to see that and rename themselves. Once they've renamed themselves, you can let them in if it's somebody you recognise, and if it's a name you don't recognise, then you simply just don't let them in. Our next feature we will look at is screen sharing. This can be useful if you have a PowerPoint prepared which you would like to share with your girls, or possibly all view a web link at the same time. To do this, you need to click the green Share Screen button at the bottom of your screen. And when you click this, a window will open which shows all of the computer programs that you have open at that point. I have here a presentation to share, so I'll simply click on my PowerPoint and it will highlight that it's blue to show that that's the one you want to share, and you just click the blue Share button at the bottom of the screen. Now everybody in the meeting will be able to view the same as me on this PowerPoint slide. When you've finished your PowerPoint, or whichever screen you want to share, and you're ready to return to the previous view, you simply hover along the top and you'll have this red Stop Share button. You just click that and everyone will return to the main view that they had before. You may also have noticed when you click that green Share Screen button, you have the option to share a whiteboard. Now the whiteboard is simply a plain white screen which you can use for girls to draw or write on during a unit meeting. You do the same thing to share the whiteboard, select the whiteboard till it turns blue and click Share. You will now see this white background, which is our whiteboard. In order for girls to draw on the whiteboard, you need them to find the Annotate or Whiteboard button on their screen. The location of this does vary across different devices, but on most laptops and PCs, they'll find it by hovering over the top of the screen, and it will either appear along this toolbar. Here you'll see Whiteboard with a pencil, or it may appear under More in the drop-down menu. On most tablets, the Annotate button will appear as a pencil somewhere on the screen rather than on this toolbar. When you click the Whiteboard or Annotate button, it will open a second toolbar where you can use this to type on the screen. You can draw on the screen using a pencil or pen. You can use stampers. The girls simply click on which stamper they'd like and then click on the screen to stamp. The spotlight will allow you to draw attention to an area of the screen by highlighting it like this. The eraser does what it says on the tin and it allows you to erase anything that you've drawn on the screen. And the Format button will allow you to select the colour of the font or pen that you would like to use, the line width of the pen, and the font and size of any text that you type on. You will also have undo and redo, again fairly self-explanatory, and the clear button. Now, as the host, before you move on to anything else on your screen, you will need to clear all drawings. Otherwise, the drawings will remain on the screen and your next slide or your next PowerPoint slide will appear with the writing on it as well. So you need to clear those drawings and get them out of the way before you show your next slide. And that's just the clear all drawings button there. When you're finished annotating, you could also save a copy of the drawing, possibly if your girls have maybe been voting on something they'd like to do, or if you'd like to keep a record of what they put on the whiteboard. And you can do this just by clicking on the Save button, and it can save it as a PNG or a PDF onto your computer. Again, when you're finished with the whiteboard, as I say, we're going to clear all drawings, close the annotation toolbar, and click Stop Share. And then we are back in the main view that we had before. The polls feature that we see on this toolbar at the bottom is only available on paid accounts. However, you can still do a poll on a free account, we just do it in a different way. If you have a free account, you can do a poll by putting the answers or options on a PowerPoint slide and asking the girls to annotate or draw on it to show which one they would like to vote for. For example, I've simply prepared a quick PowerPoint slide asking the girls what is your favourite animal. And then all the girls would need to do is find that annotate button again, and then they could possibly draw or stamp next to the one that they'd like to vote for, like so. If you have a paid account and you would like to use the polls feature, you can do this by clicking the polls button on your bottom of your toolbar and then adding a question. And this will open up a page in your internet browser where you can type in the question and answer and click Save. So here is the window that you'll get. It asks you to type in your question. So we could simply type in, what is your favourite food? And then you can type in different options. And then you just scroll right down to the bottom and click Save. So now you've set up the question that you would like to ask in your Zoom meeting. Okay, and then we just need to go back to the Zoom screen. So we would close our internet browser that's opened, and you'll see there it's copied through onto the Zoom app. Okay, so when you're ready for your girls to respond to the poll, you would simply click Launch Polling. Okay, and it says there, attendees are now viewing the questions. So your girls will have had a little pop-up on their screen and they'll now be able to answer, and you'll be able to see there how many of your girls have answered. When everyone has answered, you click End Polling and you'll see the results there on your screen. If you'd like everybody in your meeting to see the results on their screen, you can click Share Results. Okay, it says attendees are now viewing the poll results, which means everybody in the meeting can see those results that you have on your screen there. When you're ready to finish sharing your results, you just click Stop Sharing Results and you can close the poll feature. The final feature we will look at today is breakout rooms, and these allow you to move girls into smaller rooms with less people, which can be useful for small group conversations. However, there are some safeguarding considerations you'll need to take into account if you'd like to use breakout rooms. Girl Guiding have asked that in each breakout room you have at least one adult present, and this adult should be a Girl Guiding volunteer who holds at least a unit helper role. You'll need to have the same adults remaining in the main room in case a girl decides to leave a breakout room for any reason. So you need to have another adult remaining in the main room who has at least the role of a unit helper. It's also advised that one leader in your meeting has completed the Safe Space Level 3 training. If you decide you do have enough leaders and adults to go ahead with breakout rooms, you can click the breakout room button on your toolbar. This will open a pop-up window which asks you how many rooms you would like, and it has two options. You can automatically assign people into rooms, which means they would be randomly put into 2 rooms. However, for our unit meetings, as we need to make sure that we have the correct number of adults in each room, we'll always need to click this manually button, and this will allow you to choose who ends up in each room. You will then click Create Rooms, and a new window will appear, and in this window you can assign people to each room. And once you've assigned your adults and girls to the different rooms, you can click Open All Rooms at the bottom of your screen. There is also an Options button, and if you click on the options, you'll see there are a few different options here, but there are 2 important ones that are useful to tick. So you need to make sure that you tick this button which says Allow participants to return to the main session at any time. This would allow a girl to come back to the main room if they no longer wanted to stay in their breakout room for any reason. You can select this one, which will close the breakout rooms automatically after a set amount of time. This is entirely optional. It depends if you know how long you want your activity to last exactly. And then the final one is countdown after closing breakout rooms. This can be useful as after you close the breakout rooms, it will give the girls a set amount of time to finish off what they're doing and then move back to the main room with everybody else. 30 seconds to 60 seconds is perfectly sufficient for this. Once you're happy with your options there and that everybody has been assigned to the correct room, you can click this Open All Rooms button at the bottom of your screen. The participants will then get a pop-up which appears on their screen, inviting them to join a room. They just need to click the Join button and they will automatically move into the breakout room. Once the girls and other adults are in the breakout room, you as host will see a new screen which allows you to send a message to everybody in the breakout rooms telling them how long they've got before they're brought back to the main room, and you'll also be able to see which girls are in each room. When the breakout room time is over, you can close all rooms, and that'll be a button in that pop-up, and the rooms will start to count down that we set in the options, so that could be 30-second countdown. And then when those 30 seconds are up, everybody will be moved automatically back into the main room. So we've now covered all the Zoom features you'll need for your unit meetings. And if you haven't already, I would really encourage you to have a go with another leader or some friends until you find your feet and have a go at a unit meeting. Thank you all for listening to our video today.